This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good afternoon and welcome to the Clear Lines training session. I am your host, Kipp Cohen, here for the next 60 minutes to review and answer your questions about the Clear Lines indicator running on the Medved Trader platform. This is a twice weekly session every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock Eastern. It is recorded. You can find the playback of the recording at equity-alerts.com. Go to the homepage, click on the YouTube link. That'll take you to the equity-alerts.com YouTube page, and you will find all of our prior sessions posted there. This training session is geared towards both the subscribers of the Clear Lines indicator and for those of you that might not be subscribers yet but have questions about Clear Lines or the Medved Trader platform. It is a user-driven session, so if you have something for me, please make sure you get those questions in. If we don't have a lot of questions, it might be a shorter session. We don't have, I see a whole lot of viewers today, a little quiet Tuesday. Probably everybody's focused on the markets right now, obviously with the big sell-off today. If I didn't mention, it is Tuesday, May 7th, 2019. I don't know if I said that or not. Hey, welcome, Mr. B. Good to have you with us. I know everyone in here is familiar with the platform, so I don't think I have to do a full-blown overview. For those of you using Medved, if you have not recently updated, I encourage you to go to their site or go to File, Help, and check for updates. You should do that on a regular basis. They sometimes do a forced update for you. I do have the latest version. You can also go to their website for updates. You can go to www.medvedtrader.com, and at the top you'll find the downloads tab, and you can see they actually had a update released on the 5th with the full list of updates. They also do have beta versions, although it looks like right now the most current release is, oh yeah, there's currently no betas. So the production release is the most current. Again, on the Equity-Alerts website, YouTube link is right here for those of you that want to view prior recordings. One enhancement that they just released does allow for advanced order types, depending on what your broker allows for. But there are advanced order types available now, or conditional orders. Again, based on your broker permissions. Are there any specific questions right now at this point? Anybody have a specific question? So just to kind of carry over from last week's conversation, one of the things I talked about that with the Medved Trader platform, you know, there are a lot of different technical indicators that you can add into your charts, and that's kind of a user-based preference, dependent upon, you know, what different indicators you want to utilize in your trading. One of the things that I have been using lately that I'm still, I call it in the testing phase. In addition to the daily pivot points, I have added the DeMark pivots and the Fibonacci pivots. And then I look at the pivots using different extended hours. So let me go to one of my different layouts so you can see what I'm talking about. So each chart gives you the ability to show whether you want extended hours or don't want extended hours. And there's different choices of extended hours, which I find kind of interesting. There's a default that says always, that gives you all the extended hours pre-post market every day. There's current day, which just gives you that current, you know, pre-market in the morning. And then if you're watching after hours, it'll give you that current after hours. There's one that only gives you during extended hours. There's one that never gives it, doesn't give any extended hours, just gives you the regular hours, last 2 days, and then last 2 days during extended hours. So you have different choices on how you can view data, okay? So you'll notice I have a 1 minute chart, a 3 minute chart, and then you can't see it, but and I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna squinch some things over so you can actually see my third chart. Okay, so, and let me do that down here. Those are probably pretty close to even in size. I have expanded onto my second monitor. Whoops. Okay. So typically during the trading day, I use these 3 time frames: 1 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute. And the 5, I'll switch between 5 and 15 depending on if I'm looking at the drawing the first 15-minute Fibonacci level. So one of the interesting things that I have been doing, and it allows me to see, sometimes pivots appear on different levels depending on the charts, but you'll notice on the first the 1 minute chart for both my 1 minutes, I have just the current day. So that's going to give me the morning. That's going to give me the pre-market quotes from that morning, okay? Along with the regular trading session. My 3 minute I have set to always. So it's going to pull in pre-market, prior day, post-market, any for going all the way back, however far back. That goes back to early March 13th, okay? So almost 2 months of data that's on a 3 minute. And then on the 5 minute, I set it to never, okay? View never. So what'll happen is that I've noticed is most of the time nevers and current day pivot points usually line up pretty close. It's rare that they are off, the numbers are off from each other, but they do sometimes show a little different figure, okay? A a lot of times the always, and a lot depends on if there is a lot of activity or movement in the pre-market, you will see some adjustment. But remember, pivot points are using multiple days to calculate, so it depends on how volatile the stock is. But it does make it interesting to watch and see, because stocks do tend to move to these levels. I mean, here's a good example. PTCT this just a little while ago ran up to a combination, and let me blow this up so you can see it. It ran up to what turned out to be a confluence of two levels. It ran to the Fibonacci resistance level 2, FR2, and the daily pivot R1. That was a confluence right here, and that's where it reversed. You'll notice it bounced off of a different pivot point most of the midday. This line right down here is what's called the DeMark pivot, and it bounced off it 3 times before finally breaking that DeMark pivot. So by using a combination of these different pivot points, I could see where PTC was going, and it helped in the decision part. Well, I was not focused on this when it was happened, but had I been focused on this chart during this time of the day, it would have helped me in seeing where I could potentially, if I got long, take profit, or turn around if I missed the long and decide to go short, and see that it, especially down here, that would be my price target where I would look to lock in profits, right? So by utilizing not just one point, by utilizing multiple points, that could have really helped me in finding potential targets and profit targets and reversal points. Now, interestingly, you'll notice on this chart, this one only has, I only put on the 5-minute, just the daily pivot. Well, look, the bigger move basically was from R1, and it's almost back down to pivot point. So did it hurt or hinder that DeMark pivot kind of fell in this point, in this midpoint here? It may have hurt in capturing some of the additional profits. Look, it just broke through the pivot point from the daily. Now, the other thing I could have done is I could have drawn the Fibonacci of the first 15-minute time frame, and then that may have given me some additional assistance in determining where this stock might make its reversals and movements. So going to the 3-minute, guess what? It got very close right up here to that 14140 of the first 15. That is an institutional Fibonacci level. So again, we had a confluence of 2 different fib levels, Fibonacci retrace Fibonacci resistance 2, and then daily pivot resistance 1, and then just hiding above that was the institutional fib level of the first 15-minute time frame, the 14140 at 37.5, which happened to be a whole number. So this was a very good spot to watch for a potential short. You'll notice a couple other things on this chart, okay? Here was the volume weighted average price. So we went a little bit above it and came back through it. And then we also went right on top of the 3-minute Bollinger Band. So even though we broke through the VWAP and the Bollinger, we pretty much hit a roadblock at FR2, R1, and the 14140. So utilizing these levels can assist you in finding potential points of inflection of a stock. So we use that in combination with our clear lines. We got the 1 minute clear line crossover with a confirmation arrow right here, which was after it went up to that level. And then you'll notice on my 1 minute, I have the parabolic stop and reverse. So corresponding to the 1 minute reversal arrow on the clear lines, we had a shift in the parabolic stop and reverse from underneath to above. So it's a trend shift. So in essence, kind of all of the stars aligned right up here to give us what would have been a great entry for a short, somewhere around the 37.25, 37.10 range. And, you know, depending on where you got out, could have been 70 cents, 60, 70 cents. The key is finding those different indicators that suit you well, that you can find how to make good trades, that help you make better trades, really. So part of what we do, both with what I do here with educating traders, is I try to find these different indicators that marry well with my clear lines so that it can help you to become a more accurate trader. And then in our live market alerts, our equity dash alerts webinar, we utilize these tools throughout the day, again, to help our viewers and help educate our users. Any questions about any of that that I just covered? Any questions about any of that? And I'm sure there's other indicators out there that you can look at and use. I do believe that there is a point where you can have too much, because then it becomes information overload, and I'm trying not to overdo it. I mean, I've added quite a few additional pieces in lately, but I'm finding them to be pretty helpful in you know, locating points of inflection, points of you know, support and resistance where we can get long or get short of stock. And here again, going back to the PTCT, because it was such a great example, but look at that, it just bounced off of the 200% fib level of the first 15 minute. I think using the combination that we have now is pretty powerful. PTCT also, if you were watching my webinar this morning, it was one of my poppers, and it was actually my favorite popper. I selected it as the one that I thought would have the best opportunity to come down this morning. And sure enough, it, as you can see from this morning, it performed extremely well, from roughly 39.80s all the way down to 35.80s basically. So 4-point reversal from its peak to trough. We can also do this with another stock. I mean, is there something you guys want me to cover? Do you like the direction we're going? You let me know. I mean, I'm here for you guys. So do you want me to test this with something else? We've got Crocs up. We can look at Crocs. Crocs was another good popper today. Let me go in and draw the first 15-minute fib level first. And then let's switch back to a 5. And now I'm going to go over to my 3-minute. And then I'm going to show the current day so you can see all the activity from the pre-market. You can see where Crocs basically was running up this morning in the pre-market, got to the market open, pretty much peaked out at the high, which happened to be, whoops, R4. Is that, I didn't even realize that this morning. This peaked out, let me fix something real quick. I think I messed up the fibs. Okay. So interestingly, let me show you that again. The high this morning on Crocs was 30.91, R4 was 30.92. That's using the all session levels. Now, was it the same using the never? No. See, we got that number by only because we had, whoops, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong stock. Let me go back to the, yeah. So on this chart, this is the never show extended data. This R4 got, it opened up way past R4, okay? But because this chart used the extended sessions to calculate daily pivots, it gave us almost exactly that's where it reversed R4. That's pretty crazy. So let's kind of follow the roadmap, so to speak, and see where it went today to see if the tools, the indicators that I'm using could have helped us trade Crocs. So Crocs, obviously we could have been watching that R4 try to get short up off this highs. Look where it came down to. It came right down to 2 levels, and I'm going to use the drawing. It came right down to a confluence of the Fibonacci resistance 2, that's this line right here, and look at that, the bottom of the 3-minute Bollinger Band. That's where it bounced. And then, interestingly enough, it went right up to confluence of the first 15-minute fib level of the, the 618 of the first 15-minute fib level. That was the 618. It was also VWAP. This is our VWAP, volume weighted average price, and the midline of the Bollinger Band on the 3-minute. So we had confluence for our reversal. So had we shorted, we had a target there. Had we gone long, we had another target, or we had another place to get short again, which was right here as it rolls back down. And then where does it bounce? It bounces really right off of, again, some confluence, 1618 of the first 15, Fibonacci resistance level 1, which was right here, and the bottom of the Bollinger on the 3-minute. Comes up, bounces, goes a little beyond the 127 of the first 15-minute, does not get quite to the center line of the Bollingers, and then proceeds to reverse again. And then this time it goes to some more confluence. This is the DeMark Pivot, DMH. It's also the 200 of the first 15 minute, and it's the bottom line of the 3-minute Bollinger Band. So again, using these different levels, we found a good spot where Crocs bounced from. Comes up, bounces a little bit, kind of gets above the 1618, but struggles at the center line of the Bollinger Bands, and then again reverses, breaks the 200, bounces up, test it, comes down, hits another DeMark, the DMC, not to be confused with the DMZ, bounces off the DeMark C all the way back up to the top of the Bollingers to the DMH and the 200 fib level, and then kind of hangs up here before falling back down, tests that DeMark DMC again, goes sideways, and then proceeds to drop, drop, drop. And then look where we currently are right now. We are on the bottom of the Bollinger, and we're at Fibonacci support level 2. We are below the 300 fib level. So utilizing, again, a combination of the clear lines with 3-minute Bollinger and pivot points, DeMark pivots, and fib pivots, this gave a pretty clear move throughout the day. I think that's a great example. All right, let me remove these. And then I have a question from James. Can you show again how you set up the Fibonacci level? Yes. So one thing you'll need to do, James, is you will have to go, if you have not done this yet, to your settings. Okay, you can get that by opening the dashboard. You can do that from here, or go, oops, did not mean to do that. Hold on. Open, need to open the indexes. Where are my indexes? Right here. Okay. Sorry. So you can go to File, Settings, you can get to it there. And then under Charts, you'll see Fibonacci values. You need to make sure you have added these 4 additional values: the 2618, the 300, the 3618, and the 4236. If you do not have these Fibonacci levels, you will not see them when you draw the lines. James, do you have these levels already? No. Okay. So, you want to? Did you get those? 261.8, 300, 361.8, and 423. Those are the add-on levels you need to put in. Once you've done that, then when you go to your first 15-minute chart, if you're for the first time drawing a Fibonacci, what's going to happen is, and let me remove this. When you draw that for the first time, and you'll have to click on Draw and then click right here where it says Fibonacci Retrace. Make sure you select Retrace. Okay, when you go to draw that the first time, and you're going to start at the bottom and draw upwards because it's going down, price is going down. So if you're going down, start at the bottom. If you're going up, start at the top. So when you do this for the first time, what you're going to end up seeing is something that looks like this, just a yellow line. Okay. What you'll have to do is put your mouse over that line till you get the little hand. Right click, and that's going to open this window. So there's a couple things you need to do. You need to click extend right, show line percentage, show line values, and then you need to make sure you have the appropriate Fibonacci levels selected. So I have 0, 236, 382, 50%, 618, 786, 100, 127.2, 14140, 1618, 200, and then the ones we added, 2618, 300, 3618, and 4236. Now I have selected yellow for my color. I like it set to number 2 for the thickness. And then make sure you select set as default so that in the future it always utilizes that setting. Okay. And then once you've done that, then you'll see those Fibonacci levels and the extended lines. I don't know why they should have just defaulted like that, but they only show just the yellow line, which to me does not make sense. I keep needing to call them and remind them that they need to default it the other way to show the extensions and the values. And then you can draw your Fibonacci's. And again, I pretty much now exclusively use it for the first 15-minute time frame. Because I mean, obviously you can see right here the value in that. And I owe a big thank you to my friend Pippin, who happens to be here today, because he's the one that introduced me to utilizing the extension of the first 15-minute time frame. I don't always use it every day, but what I do, it is very helpful. And we can do this on another stock if y'all want to. We can draw. We can pick another stock. Let's go with just like a standard like Facebook and see what it looks like. So again, first 15-minute, that was right here. So we run our Fibonacci's off the first 15-minute level. And then I'm going to expand my 3-minute chart, and we'll show the current day. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do, darn it, right here, period, current day. That's what I wanted. Okay, so now I see all of today's activity in one window. All right, so let's kind of utilize this again the same way and do what we did following the lines and see if first of all, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to turn off some things temporarily. I'm going to hide the Bollingers. I'm going to hide the Fib pivot. I'm going to hide the DeMark pivot. I'm going to hide the VWAP, and I'm going to hide the candles. Okay, so now, and I'm going to remove. So first of all, let's just look at the clear lines. Okay, clear lines by themselves. So here's this morning, you had a nice reversal confirmation arrow pretty much just after the open. And that gave a pretty good move down with a bounce confirmation. So that was a point you could have shorted, could have covered on the up arrow. This was probably a false. So it bounced back up and then it reversed again. Bounce up, reverse, bounce, reverse. Bounce, bounce, reverse, bounce, reverse, reverse. So, you know, we had some pretty good moves if you were just using the clear lines by themselves. But let's throw in, let's put our candles back in so we can see those. And so we did reverse right off the daily pivot point this morning. So that gave us a point for inflection. We did find some confluence or support right around S1, and then it broke it. So you could have watched, actually there was a, yeah, you could have watched for the break below, back below with the confirmation arrow. Let's add the DeMark back in here, see if there's anything there. That's not really helpful. Let's add the Fibonacci levels, Fibonacci support and resistance. So that helps. You can see where it landed right on the Fibonacci support 1. And it also landed on Fibonacci support 2 right here. So that actually was helpful in finding points of inflection or turning points. And then it came up and tested Fibonacci support 1 twice before reversing. And then let's put our Bollinger Bands in. So the Bollingers also on the 3-minute were helpful. You had a reversal off the top of the Bollinger here and a reversal at the top of the Bollinger here. And then this was a good spot because it was a breakdown of support level 1 and the center line of the Bollinger Band. So that breaking point with the clear line arrow down, that was probably one of your best short spots right here. Just looking back, this would have been a good one through here because you had a break below the center line along with a down arrow, which gave a good drop here. It was a bounce up to the center line, reversal down to Fibonacci support 2, bouncing off the bottom of the Bollinger up through the mid Bollinger line, following the Bollinger to the top, reversing almost to the bottom of the Bollingers near Fibonacci support, back to the top of the Bollinger and up to the top, the Fibonacci support 1. And then, as I said, we came right into the center line along with a support level 1 on the daily pivot, and then the big drop right through here. And then the last thing we're going to add back in is we're going to see if drawing the, okay, this is going to look weird for just a minute. Let me draw that first 15-minute again. And now let me go back to the 3-minute. Okay. So did the Fibonacci levels help us in any way? I'd say right here, breaking the 100 was a good confirmation of this reversal. But look at this bounce right in here. This was off the 200. So that was helpful. We came up to the 14140. We got down almost to the 1618. Back up. When we hit that top Bollinger, we were very close to the 1618. We came right down to the 300, back to the 200, bounced off the 2618, and then broke it and proceeded down through the 4236. So the combination of these indicators that I have now, I think are pretty solid. They work together very well. We can try this again on another stock. Do any of you guys have something you'd like me to look at? Do you have a specific stock? I don't care what it is. Just throw something out there and I'll test it and see if using all these levels together are helpful. Come on, guys. This is class participation. Help me, help me. Any specific stock you guys would like me to evaluate? If not, I'm just going to pick another random. All right, I'm going to go with NVIDIA because I know that's a good moving stock intraday. All right, so let's go back to our first 15-minute time frame. Let's draw the first 15-minute fib. So we have those levels done. Let's go back to the 3-minute. And then let's follow the roadmap. So pretty much right out of the gate, almost immediately you had a 3-minute down arrow. So my clear lines out of the gate was giving you a short. It actually gave a confirmation bounce. So let's draw. So down, down, down. Where does it bounce? It bounces off obviously that's the first 15-minute low right here. There's our first 15-minute low. We bounced off of it. That's the 100 line. We went right up to, look at this, combination of the 382 and the center line. That was the center line of the 3-minute Bollinger. So that was pretty good. Reverses, comes all the way down to the 14140, almost touching the bottom of the Bollinger. And then where does it go again? Gives an up arrow, goes right to the center line of the Bollinger Band. And this time we have a combination, we have a confluence, we have a DeMark pivot as well as a 786. So DeMark 786 and the center Bollinger on the 3-minute. Reverses, goes all the way down to the 200. Stretches its little legs below the support level 1 of the daily pivot, which was right here, just to touch that 200, and crosses through the bottom of the Bollinger to run back right up to that same center line. This time, look where it is. Confluence. This time it's the 14140 and Fibonacci support level 1. And then we kind of get stuck in the mud. We get stuck in this mush for a while, kind of just bouncing along, but it's kind of finding a little bouncing, riding along the tightening of the Bollinger. You'll notice right here, the Bollingers tighten up. Actually, they tightened up right all through here. Okay, there's that Bollinger tightening before an expansion or breakout. And then it gets to the top of the band, we get a down arrow. Again, confluenced around the 1618, the center line, and then we get our next down. And then that's the beginning of a pretty big reversal, following pretty much all the way along the bottom of the Bollingers until bouncing just below the 300, back up to the top. Guys, this is pretty powerful stuff. If you're not utilizing these indicators, I think you're going to miss out. I think this is very helpful. Can really guide you in your trades. Again, where to help you get in, get out, see potential profit targets. All right, let's do this one more time. Let's pick another stock. Let's go with Amazon. I know somebody here that likes that stock. Let's go to our first 15-minute. It's the first 15. Let's switch that to the 3. Okay. So we get all the way up. Obviously, we're not, let's see, this would be the open right here. 3, 6, 9, 12. So we don't have our first 15 yet till that was our first 15. So we did get a down arrow right here before we could have used our fib levels. We had a down arrow about 12 minutes into the day, and that was right off of the top of, let me go to my, that was just, you would have been able to use the top of the Bollinger Band and my arrows. And then Amazon came down through the 100, kind of hit that middle Bollinger, and then came down, dropped to the bottom of the band, bounced all the way up to the middle, right around the 127, and then proceeded to drop again all the way down through the 300. But you'll notice there were no pivots down here, no DeMark, so at these levels there wasn't really anything except maybe bouncing off the bottom of the band and my clear lines curving back up. Went all the way back up to the center line, kind of jogged around, hit the top of the Bollinger, down to the bottom, top of the Bollinger and the 200, back to the center line, jogs around, and then again catches a big reversal. This time does bounce off of a fib level, the 3618, bounces up, hits the top of the Bollinger, almost hitting the 2618, proceeds to reverse all the way down to the DeMark DML, back up to the 300 and the top of the Bollinger, back down to the DeMark, and then it just in the last few minutes bounced up almost to the 300 and the top of the Bollingers. So not everything lined up, but there was a lot of help used. You had the DeMark pivot, the clear lines, and the Bollingers on the 3 minute, that would have helped you. And if we go to a 1 minute, because the 1 minute is also very helpful. Pippin says, yep, we're long Amazon right now, 5 points locked. So the 1 minute, you got an up arrow and you had the shift underneath to the parabolic stop and reverse. But that was a pretty big candle right there. That was a pretty wild move. We also, oh, that's a 3 minute. I'm sorry. I wanted to show the 1 minute, not a 3 minute. There you go. That's better. All right. So the 1 minute gave you an up arrow right here. And actually, you didn't get a parabolic stop and reverse shift until right here, which was still a pretty good spot in the 1907, 1908 range, and it's now 6 points above that. Actually, the 1 minute would have been ideal. We've also been messing with a 30-second. Some stocks are a little more challenging on a 30-second, but that 30-second on Amazon actually could have been pretty good today. My point is, if you have the right combination of indicators, it's going to really help you in your trading. And I think we've unlocked what I feel is very powerful use of just a handful of very good indicators. By the way, if you didn't notice, the Dow's down 560, the NASDAQ's down 185, the S&P's down 57. I know we've bounced a little bit off of lows. I'm very happy though with what we are utilizing today. Definitely has made a difference. I think we've got something good. All right, guys, any other questions today? If not, I'm going to go ahead and probably cut the session here. I'm glad I kind of focused on this. I think it's, we've got a very solid foundation. If you have additional questions, you're always welcome to email me at kip@equity-alerts.com. You can also call or text me at 972-841-8886. And anytime I'm here, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3 o'clock Eastern, you're welcome to come in, ask questions. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. This session is recorded. Will be posted to the Equity-Alerts YouTube page later this afternoon. Have a great trading day, and we'll see you on Thursday.